I would say that it's lack of experience, it's lack of knowledge, and sometimes you have the stereotypes because you have been listening, hearing, watching many things which can impact your minds, and you start developing sort of a picture or an image about a person or a system or a society. Okay, so this is how you start building up these stereotypes. Essentially, it's an offshoot of misinformation and disinformation. And obviously, let's accept it. You can't be fully informed about everything or anything. Yeah. So whenever something comes to your mind, comes in discussion, which you haven't experienced before, you don't want to sound very raw. So you always have some sort of stereotypes. I don't think the stereotypes are very bad. As a matter of fact, this is something we use. If I can use a similar term in research, it's more like a assumption or a proposition. So it's like that in the human relationship, and you don't want to when your stereotype is broken. It's not something you feel very bad about. As I mentioned in your previous question, that I love to be my stereotype to prove other way around. So this is something you come up with, and we can't help it. We always have some idea, some thoughts about somebody before we see or before we experience. And this is something, I don't think it's a very bad thing. As a matter of fact, it's good that when you have a stereotype, you have some image about the person, and when you actually meet the person and you have the interaction, and then you feel that, hey, maybe my stereotype was completely wrong or partially true. So you try to analyze. I think with stereotype, you come up with a structure to judge, or rather I should say assess the person. Kind of stereotypes. And since India is a very big and very diverse country, so obviously there'll be more stereotypes for India. And I think the food habits are one of them, that they eat very spicy food, or you can say that the Indians have a very thick, very accentuated way of speaking. So yes, there are many stereotypes. There can also be stereotypes that people over there don't value time much. Like people are late. If they say that I'll see you at 5 o'clock, then actually it happens to be definitely not 5 o'clock. So there are stereotypes like any other culture. I'll be lying if I say that I don't do it. Obviously, when you always meet somebody you haven't met before, so you always try to find out what type of system or the culture you come from. So you always start building up some sort of notion, some sort of images in your head that, you know what, I'm going to see this person and he or she come from this system. So very highly likely the person would be this kind. So you always make kind of some contours or sort of imaginary vision about a person. And I don't feel bad when my stereotype is broken, which is often broken actually.
Well, I would say probably the most common stereotype about Russia is the people who live there always drink vodka all over the time, and then there's like people who play balalaika all the time, and there's bears running along the streets. I would say that for people who've never been in Russia, it might be like this, but if you would visit Russia only once, you would definitely break this kind of stereotypes, because in Russia you can see a lot of things apart from vodka, balalaika and bears. I would say that one more thing about Russians as well, when they are coming to some foreign countries and when they need to speak English, their accent is like really, really strong, so you can easily recognize Russian people speaking English or any other language. But for me, like even I myself have like that kind of strong accent.
Some people said Chinese people eating some weird food, some insects, but it is happened somewhere, but it's very seldom. This is not all Chinese people are eating. We don't eat that kind of food everywhere, every day. It's really rare case, you know. It's not happened so often. So it's delicious food, spicy or sweet. Choose whatever you want. And it's also good for the vegetarians. You know, in some other countries, vegetarian difficult to find the food, which Western eat meat quite a lot. But in China, you have different kind of vegetables. There's tofu, very famous. Even the name is tofu, but they're very different kind of products made by from tofu. So it's really nice. So everybody can find their own taste food. So we'll come to China, you will find it is so great. And if you want to go to sightseeing, it's very nice. So it's not only the food, the culture is also very nice too.
Not too many, I would say, like when thinking about the stereotypes or like cultural issues, I don't see it like as an issue itself. Because I think that I'm like taking people as people, not like from different cultures, who is from which country or whatever. So I don't like pay attention to the cultural thing too much. Or maybe I am, I just don't notice it. And of course, like I can say that like in many cases the Asian students are like more quiet and like not that open as some others, but then there are like huge exceptions, and maybe someone could say that Russians are like this and this and this, but then they are like individuals, they are like different people, everyone is different. So
Of course.
I don't know what to say about the stereotypes. Maybe I had them before I came here to work with the international students.